March 20th, 1995, morning rush hour in Tokyo. In crowded subways, terrorists released the deadly nerve gas sarin, killing and maiming thousands and injecting fear and panic into the minds of millions.
Poison gas first appeared during World War I. The Allied forces and the Germans were deadlocked in trench warfare at Ypres in Belgium.
For roughly 100 years, countries have possessed and used weapons of mass destruction. During World War I, the Germans, British and French used them against each other, starting in 1915. During World War II, the Japanese used biological weapons against the Chinese.
A lone B-29.
And the United States dropped the world's first atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s, Saddam Hussein used chemical weapons in the battlefield and to murder civilians in the Kurdish city of Halabja in 1988. In recent years, terrorists started seeking to obtain and use such weapons, and now could inflict suffering on civilians almost whenever and wherever they choose. In 2001, just weeks after the 9/11 terror attacks in New York, letters containing anthrax were mailed through the U.S. postal system.
A positive anthrax culture was found at the remote mail site that serves the White House.
The report of the United Nations mission to investigate allegations of the use of chemical weapons in Syria has concluded that chemical weapons were used on a relatively large scale in the Ghouta area of Damascus on August 21st.
So what can be done to prevent terrorists from acquiring and using weapons of mass destruction and to protect civilians from WMD terror attacks? In recent years, the international community has taken bold actions. The United Nations established treaties to prohibit weapons of mass destruction and to prevent their proliferation. The most forceful measure is United Nations Security Council Resolution 1540, which UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon says is essential to keep people safe.
The draft resolution has been adopted unanimously.
Resolution 1540 requires every government to adopt and enforce laws to prevent terrorists from acquiring and using weapons of mass destruction. UN High Representative for Disarmament Affairs Angela Kane believes such cooperation must extend even beyond governments.
The most effective way to actually implement Resolution 1540 is to work together internationally. That means all of the governments, the member states of the United Nations, it means international civil society, it means even private citizens, to basically work in a framework that we all aim to achieve the same end.